Hi there everybody, welcome back to Prestige Auctions. It's auction aftermath time. This is for yesterday's auction, which was the 7th of December. And wow, what a cracking auction it was. We'd already broke records in the room by the amount of lots that we did. Where this was like 1,516 lots, something like that. And we had a huge amount of commission bids, but we had so much great gear in the auction as well. It wasn't just like it was an auction filled out with lots of stuff just to sell. You had all that fantastic marble in there. You had all them great hats. We had free cars in the auction, jewelry and coins and all sorts of stuff. There was just the content in the room was just absolutely fantastic, and people were coming down in the droves. We even had a chap drive all the way from Liverpool for yesterday's auction. So it just shows you that when the right gear's there, the people will turn up for it, even when it's December, because we know that December is a particularly hard month for a lot of people, especially if they're looking to buy items, because you've got a lot more priorities to think about when it comes to kids and Christmas and all the rest of it. So we do appreciate you coming down here. And just remember, into the week, this next week, we've got the big Elvis auction on Wednesday. You can bid for that one by going to easyliveauction.com at the moment. Search Prestige, you'll find all the great gear on there. But without any further ado, let's have a look at what happened yesterday. Well, if we go onto the desktop camera there, and we started off with this at lot number one, which was this lovely Moorcroft lamp, and I think this made 60-70 quid, something like that. That was quite a nice piece indeed. And at the start of the auction was relatively standard. Things like these elephant pieces were making 30 odd quid a piece. I think they do always seem to sell well. But when you look around the front shelves this week, there was bargains to be had. Whether it's some of this blank media, obviously they don't sell as well as the cassettes, but they sold and made a few quid. But there was lots of bargain boxes in this week's auction. So people were sort of stood at the back of the room and picking out nice little lots to take away and make some money on. Of course, jigsaws at this time of the year can be a good seller. So when you're looking for tips for the challenge and stuff, sometimes jigsaws are a good thing because more people are staying indoors. And because they're staying indoors, they're looking for stuff to do. So jigsaws can be a good one to buy at this time of year, especially themed ones as well, if they're theming them up for Christmas and such like. So again, just another little tip for you. Here we go. This is where it got interesting in the auction. So all of these mannequin heads, now these were sort of from the same house where the hats came from. So some of these were making some real money. I think one of them made as much as 50-60 quid, something like that. So again, big money to me for some things, but ultimately people have got a reason to buy them if you're looking for them for display or whether you're looking for them to sell on. They're all good stuff. So as we came down here, we went past the plates and things like that and various toys. The shoes, they struggled. Those ones there, not before the trainers that didn't struggle. And then of course this one here, this was this life-size Father Christmas, which unfortunately is going to our house. Lisa paid £80 for that yesterday. She said she liked it and wanted it as an ornament. So that'll be another thing that will sit in the loft year after year after year. Anyway, as we come down here, we got onto the magnificent marble. Now, as people pointed out with this marble, a lot of it had damage, which was a real shame because there were some really nice pieces in there. And a lot of these smaller pieces, they didn't do a huge amount of money. And as you can see there, I mean, if you look at, not the fish, look at the finger there. If you look at that finger there, you can actually see where some of the damages was on these. The fish did okay because it was a little bit different. As we come down here, you had some of the shape stuff, the dolphins again, little chip out of there, you can see. And this is why some of the stuff didn't make a huge amount of money, but some of it did quite well. And as we was flicking through, that one did a few quid. The marble fruits there, or whatever they were, there's just a little bit different. As you started getting onto the bigger stuff started selling well. The lions and the dolphin there and all these frogs and things, they was all selling okay. The bears, there's a bit of a fight on for those at one point. And then there was bookends, and then all these eggs and things, and then the balls. Again, didn't make a huge amount of money, but they're not that thrilling when it comes to some of the other stuff that was in the sale. This piece here that was from a job, somebody fell in love with that. There was a bit of a fight on for that one yesterday. I think that made a few quid as well. I seem to remember 40-50 quid, something like that. As we come down here, We had the gaming. The gaming was doing well again yesterday. We even had a telephone bidder on the PlayStation games yesterday. So all the gaming was doing really, really well yesterday and did some real money, which was good to see that back up there. Lots of resale value, as with the CDs and everything else. Lots of ways to make extra money. There was brand new items in the sale as well. People were buying those as Christmas presents. And then we came down here, we had the dolls and things like that. Then we got onto the cabinets. The cabinet stuff was just pretty general. The cabinet stuff was quite general, though, this week. So nothing much to really report there. People were picking up bargains as well. The odd few bits were making a few quid, but plenty of bargains to be had this week. That did okay, 341. The old Army first aid kit there, that made a few quid. And of course, if you do want to see the exact prices, just go onto our YouTube video of the live sale and you'll see what everything actually made. But as you come down here, see, I thought that was a bit cheap. That jewellery box there, that jewellery box didn't make a huge amount of money. There was lots of content in it. And so if you break that down, that was quite a cheap lot. Quite surprised more people didn't go for that. As you come down here, we had got onto the silver and things and some of the watches. And again, a lot of this silver and stuff came from an estate. Some of it, not these bits here, not the charm bracelets, but came from an estate that needed selling off. And the bits did okay. Coins struggled a little bit yesterday with the crowns and that, where they've been selling really well on other weeks. I think there's just been too many of them. But I think we're pretty much at the end of those now anyway. So... the little silver salts did okay. The little miser's purse, that was a sweet little thing. That can tell you there's another one in next week's auction. So if you're after a little miser's purse, of course I made a joke about Lisa didn't need it anymore. But it's a nice little thing, that in sterling silver as well, including all of this. It's all silver, which is a really nice old thing. Probably cost a fortune to make these days. As we came down here, well, we came onto the tag watch. Well, the tag watch, because we're not that kind of auction room where when people ask a reserve, we say, oh, we can't possibly tell you that information, like a lot of the auction rooms do. We do tend to tell people because we don't want people wasting their time. So with this tag watch here, you can see there that it did quite well. It was in extremely good condition. It had all the papers with it. It had the original purchase receipt from Beaverbrooks and so on. And it made $760, I believe it was, $760 plus hammer. So that made a few bob in yesterday's sale. But the chap that bought it said he was extremely chuffed with it. He'd been after one for a while. And he travelled to pick it up, which is great. So as long as people are walking away happy, that makes us happy. We then went through all this lot. Lisa took over at this bit to give me a bit of a break, ready before we did the trainers, and we're selling all these sort of collectible bits and that. These Maasai things didn't sell. They had a £12 reserve on each of them, which, they're not that popular. So the Christmas stuff was selling well. Somebody timed that just right to put that in just at the right time of the year as people are putting the decorations up and stuff. So anyway, let's have a quick look. We was coming down here, then we got to the trainers. Well, where are the trainers? The trainers, this is where the bun fight started. Now, we had over 100 pairs of these, and lots of people were buying them because there was money to be made on them if you could be bothered to sell them individually. Whether it be a £5 or a £10 a pair profit or whatever, you get them online at this time of the year. You're going to sell them quite quick because people are looking for Christmas presents. There's some specialised running shoes in there as well. So some lightweight shoes, especially for runners and stuff. But when you looked at the quality of some of these shoes, I mean, this was a shop that closed in Cleethorpes, I believe. And of course, all the stock had been paid for. So it had to go somewhere. And when you looked at some of these, certainly people were saying at the counter that they were happy with what they've bought. People were treating themselves and so on. So I was only doing anywhere between £20 and £35. Some were a bit cheaper, some were a bit dearer, but there was lots of them. As you can see, as we come down, there was just loads and loads and loads. It seemed never ending. And then we got onto the magnificent hats. Well, of course, this hat here reminds me of the Live and Let Die film when the chap wore one of those. And then we had the steampunk hat. Well, that made 20 something quid, I believe it was. I don't know what these would cost you online. Anyone that watched the auction knows that I bought that, and I was happy to buy that one for just a few quid as well, about 5 or 6 quid I think it was. I was well chuffed with that to buy that one. And then there was more of the steampunk style hats there, and then Napoleon style. And then of course we got onto the other hats up here, and whether it be sort of tweed, Harris tweed, there was cowboy style hats and things, and they did some proper money. I mean, hats aren't cheap, let's not forget that. And this is when you're looking at making money and looking at challenges and stuff like that that we've been sort of setting people, this kind of stuff, if you've got the money to invest into this at sort of 30 and 40 pound a pop per lot or whatever they were, then there's some real earners in this, because these hats can sell at 10 and 20 pounds each online. So as you can see there was like the Mickey hats out of Snatch. But anyway, I think somewhere, let me just click onto that a second. I think somewhere we've actually set up a little video somewhere. Somewhere down here of the hats selling. We've set you up a few videos today just to have a look at for those of you that didn't actually see the auction. I know not everybody watches the auction live on a Saturday, so there we go. This was some of the hat action.
48, 50 and 2, 54, 56, 58, 60, 2, 64, 66, 68, 70, 2, 72 on bid, 74 anyway. £74 anywhere, selling away then at £72.
Now £72 sounds quite expensive for a few hats, but there's hats in there that will sell at £20 and £30 each.
63. Here's another basket here, and I've got £18 bid. 18 bid, 20. £20 on bid, £22 anywhere. £22 anywhere, selling away then at £20.
But as you see there, you went onto that one there, which was a little bit cheaper because it was cord type hats rather than the Harris tweed. So it gives you a good idea of what was selling in the auction there. And then of course a little bit later on we came up to this item here. Let me just see if I can find it. Now, Lisa had took over again at this bit. And this was the item here, I believe. Let me see if I can just line that up for you. It was a lovely clock.
8 with me. 9 anywhere. 9, 10. 10, 12.
We'll just let Lisa finish off selling that piece.
14 anywhere. Selling them. £12. Room exit 2029 994 is another lamp. Start me quick.
Oh no, have I gone wrong here somewhere?
£3 anywhere. Anybody want a lamp?
No, I think we're just at about the right point. Just 1 second. Hello.
Can I get the gate keys, please?
Yeah, we're sorting the cards out. Yeah, see, this is live as it happens, everybody. The auction room's always busy. The keys to the cash kite are on top. Okay. Just shut that door too for us, please, mate. Yeah, so as you can see, sorry about that, everybody. Lisa went through selling the lamps, and then we come onto this lovely clock. There we go. So let's just pause Lisa yapping for a minute. This is a stunning clock. I would imagine this would have been a lot of money because it's such a nice thing. So there you go, this nice clock here. Let's see how it did at the auction anyway.
Ryan, is the key still with the clock? This is a beautiful clock. Anyway, I am straight in at £22 bid, 24 anywhere, 24, 26, 28 and 30, 32, and I'm out, 32, 34, 34 over there, 36 anywhere, 36 anywhere, 36, 38, 40 and 2, 42, 44, 46, 48 and 50. We're going up in fives now, Dave. £50 on bid, 55 anywhere, 55 anywhere. Selling them, £50. Come on up.
And still an absolute steal. A beautiful clock that would have cost a serious amount of money, I'm thinking. And anyway, it is what it is. It was a nice thing, and it made some money. It made 50 quid, as you see there. So let's just move down on the pictures. We went through the back shelves and everything, selling electricals. Now, I said something live yesterday where I was on about people putting stuff in with reserves on the auction. What I'd suggest to anybody, so you don't end up with lots and lots of lotting fees with not solds, is if you're going to use an auction room like ours, then have a look at see what stuff makes before you start putting reserves on, because putting bigger reserves on stuff that was never going to make that much money if you believe in your head that it's going to make that much money, and so you're sort of adamant with your reserves, that's fine. We'll put them in, but you're just costing yourself money. I mean, you know, putting big reserves on things like video recorders and DVD players, that can be hard to sell at the best of times. So we don't want to be that company that just charges you loads of money. So have a good look first. Make sure you're happy with your reserves. And if you are, then fine. But ultimately, we don't want to just cost you money for no reason. So we came through all the DVDs and CDs and all the rest of it. And of course, they were quite busy. Now, in this back room, there was other boxes with scarves and hats and stuff like that, which were kind of sleepers in the room because they'd all come from the same property. And when you came here, look, there was more hats there. And then there was all these scarves and hats and things there. And then that box there. So there's lots and lots of stuff. And I thought that they were quite cheap in the back room. So I think people kind of missed out a little bit there on things that they could have made money on. I mean, obviously somebody's going to make money on them unless they're just keeping them all. But ultimately, we came through all this. Toys were doing well this week. Toys and books were doing extremely well as well. But so before we go... I've just been talking to you about that and I forgot to put it onto the desktop showcase. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. So just while you've got me on your screen, let's just have a look at the next one, which was 614 on the auction. So let's go back to this one. And I think we had a really interesting box of books come up. Let's have a look.
These are all to do with music and artists and that. And I'm straight in at £14 bid. 14 bid, 16 anywhere. £16 anywhere on these. Sell it away then at £14. £14.
Not that one.
27. Lot number 1140.
This is the one. Box of motor racing books.
All to do with.
This created a bit of interest.
And I'm straight in at £26 bid. 26 bid, 28 anyway. 28 30. 32 54. 36 38. 40 and 2. 44 46. 48, 50, 52, and I'm out. 52 bid, 54, 54, 54 and bid, 56 anywhere, 56 anywhere. You, 56, 58, 60, and 2, 64, 64 and bid, 66 anywhere, 66 anywhere. Selling away at £64. Your number.
And this kind of tells you why you shouldn't just dismiss box of books, because there was some good stuff in there by all accounts and people see it. So, you know, they would pay £66 plus commission. Sounds expensive for a box of books, but it's only expensive if you're not going to make the money on it, isn't it? So there you go. That's where it was. We got through there. We went into the back room. Back room was just a bit ordinary this week. There was some nice tools. There was some bits and bobs, few high reserves on things again. And then there was various boxes of assorted, and once again 1 or 2 sleepers in this room as well, where there was stuff under the tables which was in boxes, which was probably worth a few quid. So again, the reason you should be at the auction and actually, you know, viewing everything and making sure you know what is there. Now what I can tell you is that we then came on to the cars. Now let me just go to this one here again. Where was we? 739. So we'll just go to this on the video and see where we went with these cars.
Yesterday, it started straight away. There was no issues with it.
So just for the record, this Volkswagen that we had in had been sat outside somebody's property for quite a while, to the point it had got moss growing in the windows. But you can see overall it's a very, very tidy car. Quite a nice car indeed, actually. We put some jump leads on it and it did start. So ultimately, you know, it's probably going to need a bit of a service and that. But let's see how it did. Now, bearing in mind, this is quite important, because lots of people come to us and say, oh, what do you do with your car? Oh, I just scrapped it. Well, you know, you scrap it, you get 150, 200 quid, whatever you get for scrap these days. And don't do that. You know, if you've got a running car or an half-decent car, put it to the auction. Because you can see, if somebody had got £200 for this car, this is what they would have got at the auction.
That's all we know. It's done 60,000 miles. And I can tell you it's got nearly a full tank of petrol as well, which is quite unusual for any auction car. But there you go, it's come to us this week. It was brought in on the transport because it was part of an estate we was clearing. Other than that, it looks quite tidy. Anyway, let's see where we go with it. Start me 500, somebody. 500 for this lovely little VW. I still think it's cheap. £500 anywhere on this one. 500 and bit. 500 and bit. 520 anywhere. £520 anywhere on this one. 520 anywhere. Fair warning on this one then. Going to sell this 520, 540, 540, 560, 580, 580 on bid, 600 anywhere. 620, 620 on bid, 640 anywhere. 640 anywhere. Fair warning. Selling this away then at £620. 600.
So there you go, £620. Now, take your commission off that, 50, 60 quid, whatever it was. So, you're going to walk away with sort of 550. Well, why would you scrap it? Why would you? I don't get it. Even our neighbours next door scrapped a car that belonged to one of their family members. Made no sense whatsoever, because they're scrapping it with these companies that they're going to get next to nothing for when they could get some real money. But anyway, we had another a car from an estate that we cleared this week, and this was this lovely little automatic Kia.
£120 to number 4263. Thank you. Lot number 1389.
Oh no! Oh god, this is when things are done. We did the Kia first, so we sold this one.
There you go. It's quite tidy inside.
Now this one
the rest of it
is still available,
as you always do. Needs to be £1,200.
It was £1,200 reserve on this one for this Qashqai, and this is a runner.
Start me. £1,200 to start me for the Qashqai. £1,200 anywhere. Anyone interested in this Qashqai at £1,200? £1,200 anywhere. No interest? No. That one's not sold. Lot number.
Now, sadly, that one didn't sell, but this was the one that came from the other state, which was the little Kia.
1387 is the Kia Venga automatic. Lovely little car. This. I'm straight in at 1,720, 1,740, 160. 180, 1,820, I'm out. 1,820, 1,840, 1,860, 1,880, 1,900, 1,920, 1,940, 1,960, 1,980, 2,050, 2,100, 2,150, 22, 2,200 on bid. 2,200 on bid, 2,250 anywhere, 2,250 anywhere. Selling away then at 2,200 to none.
So there you go, 2,200 for that one. Again, came from an estate, so ultimately, it just needed selling. But 2,200, fair price for that car. A few years old, but it was low mileage, 50-something thousand mile, and it had sort of half a tank of fuel as well, which was quite nice. So. Once we got through the cars, we then came onto the front table, and the front table here had trains and a lot of good gaming as well. Gaming was doing so well. Then we got onto the white goods, and then we got onto this marble. Well, the marble, once again, sold... I wouldn't say it sold quite well, because it sold really undervalued in terms of how much it would have cost to buy it. However... this stuff had a lot of damage. So let's have a quick look at how some of it did.
And lot number 1,439 is this one here. The nice marble plinth and the marble top on this one. Start me 30 on this one. 30 to go. Cheap a lot. £30 anywhere. 30. I've got 5 a bid. 5 bid. 6 anywhere. 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. 22, I'm out. £22 bid, 24 anywhere. £24 anywhere on this one. Selling away then at £22. He's going to regret it on his back.
Now you can see that seems very cheap, but there was quite a lot of damage to that one. I can tell you that some of them did as much as 200 and something like that. So they weren't all super cheap, but they were all quite nice items. But that was the bargain of the day. That one there, 30 quid. big marble table, would have cost you £3,500, no doubt. But why do people only pay so much for these? Well, they're just so hard to move. Ultimately, it's easy for me to talk about what something's worth, but when you think they've got, some of them have got damage, and then you add into the fact of how hard they are to move, then that makes it not very appealing to people to buy. We then went through the furniture, and there were one or two nice bits, one or two interesting bits. Then we moved on to all this studio equipment. I forgot about this. So the studio equipment here, these sets of lights and that, they made £190 per two. There was 4 lots of those, look. And then there was all sorts of other studio bits and bobs that made some good money. Well, overall, I thought it was an amazing auction. I was really impressed with everybody. We managed to get the auction wrapped up by probably about 20 past 5, I think it was. It was a bit of a later night for us and the staff, but I can tell you now, behind that wall now as we speak, the auction room is nearly ready to go again. It's nearly empty. All the stuff's going out slowly but surely. All the stuff's been picked up first thing in the morning by arrangement. And we're ready to go again for this next week, and tell you what, some cracking stuff again in this week's auction. But use these aftermaths to look at the items, get my opinions on stuff like that, and as a way to, you can learn how to make money from auctions. There's lots of challenges up against us for financials and all the rest of it these days. So if you can find another way to make a few quid, then why not do it? Thank you ever so much for watching today's Aftermath, and don't forget, if you did enjoy the content, to give us a thumbs up, and we will see you all again very soon at the auction.